I'm going to demo a hinge that I learned at an EVA workshop that Clyde Peterson did a couple years ago. A tape and thread hinge. These are our tools. We have a tapestry needle, a couple pieces of paper. They're meant to be joined like this. This bottom pear-shaped piece suggests a body and a neck, and this rounder piece is kind of a head. We have 100% nylon thread. I'm sure this would work with other types of thread as well. I just think nylon thread is really durable. This is specifically tapestry thread, so it's just it's a little more hardcore than the kind of brittle thread that would show up in a sewing kit, for example, like one of those little repair kits. This is an awl, which I'll use to make my hole. You could use a needle. I think it's easier to use an awl. And then I have basic Scotch tape, although it is super old. Don't use magic tape. That stuff will peel and it will not be good. So I'm going to take my awl, and first of all I need to figure out where I want this to sit. So I think it's going to be something like here. And I'm going to take this off. I'm going to make a hole in the bottom piece. The top piece you don't make any sort of hole in. So I've started the hole with awl. Let's make it a little bit bigger without bending my paper. There we go. Now I want to flip my pieces over, line them up how I want the pieces to sit together. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to take a pen and draw a little mark through the awl hole so that I have a tiny indentation on the back of this piece. It's maybe a little bit hard to see, so let's just get a little more ink in there. That's the registration point, the hole and this little dot. I'm going to take my thread and put it on my needle, give it some slack. And what I'm going to do here is take one end of it and put it across where that dot is and lay it there. And it's flying around, but hang on a second. Take a piece of tape, hold this across here, and I want to tape it down so the edge of the tape is right at the edge of that dot. So if we look at this, when I pull this up, the very edge of the tape is right there on the dot where I marked that little registration point. I did use a piece of tape that's a little bit long, so I'm needing to trim this. You can see it's kind of coming off the edge there, which we don't want. We don't want it to be visible from the other side. I have a little bit of extra string, and I'll cut that off. So that's the first part. And now we're going to take the needle, which is still attached here. It was off screen, but still attached. And I'm going to thread it through the hole in the back piece. And it's going to go through the front of it toward the very back of the puppet, okay? And then I pull that taut. So now I have my two pieces connected, and I'm going to take a piece of tape and do the same thing I did with the other piece, holding it taut and putting a tape piece right over here so it covers the hole but does not come off the edge of the puppet. And I'm going to cut the excess, and there we go. This makes for a puppet that's really, really easy to animate with, especially compared to something like Mini Brads or Punch Hinge. And of course, if you wanted to suggest something like a 3/4 view, you could put the awl hole through the back arm and the back leg, and then for these two, register to all holes in the body.